Instagram, you'll automatically be in. This is the McLaren 720S Spider, and it's just like a toy. Now seriously, look, it's exactly like a toy. Well, apart from the price. See, the full-size car will cost you £237,000, whereas this, it's about 10,000 times less. So yeah, much more affordable. In fact, if you're one of these, if you go to our Instagram channel at CarWowCars and follow us there, we'll enter you into a raffle to win this particular car right here. Now don't worry, if you're already following us on Instagram, you'll automatically be entered into the raffle anyway, whether you like it or not. Now, if you're looking to buy a new car, click on the pop-out button in the top right-hand corner of the screen or on the link below the video to go to CarWow to check out the best deals there. Alternatively, just Google CarWow. Simple. Let's start this review by talking about the design, because with the roof up, it does look very similar to the coupe, and it's got all the same aero swooshes and inlets as well, and I'll illustrate them now with the CarWow stick of truth. So every bit of aero and vent does actually serve a purpose. There's no fakery here. It's all there to do a job, even back here, down here, all the way to the rear. There is no need for the CarWow stick of truth today at all. Now, one of the differences between this car and the coupe is how the doors are mounted. You still open them in the same cool way just by pressing on the panel in here, but they're hinged just down there, whereas the ones on the coupe are also hinged towards the roof. Obviously they can't be on this car because the roof panel does come out. So moving into the car, you still have soft close. So if I just shut the door, I only have to do it gently and then it automatically closes for you. Also, if I pull up on this stalk, because I've got the electric steering column and I've got the memory seats, it'll move me to my favorite position. And it is a great driving position in this car. It's just bang on. I also like the dash, and it's covered in leather, or you can have it in Alcantara. It's entirely up to you. Also the vents, I like the way they operate. So that's them shut, that's them open. This is a vent here as well, which you can open or close just by pushing or pulling it, which is cool. And the general layout of stuff is just dead easy. It's all angled towards the driver ever so slightly. And these are the controls for the different driving modes that you can flip through. Then you have the infotainment screen here, which is like a portrait tablet. Don't think it's the best system in the world, but it is all right. One thing it doesn't have though is Apple CarPlay nor Android Auto, which is a shame, but the system is fairly easy to use. So you can press that button to go to the home screen, then you can just use the touch screen to go through your different functions. All very simple, all very logical. Shortcut to the satellite navigation, and it's an all right Navi system. It's not the most responsive of the map, but it does the job well enough, really. I also like the way that the buttons are just neatly laid out here for your drive selector there. So you've got your drive, neutral, reverse. You've got your launch control button there, more on that later. You've got the controls for the roof there as well. Once again, more on that later. The controls for opening the door just feel really expensive, made out of metal. And so the window switch edges as well. All very lovely, all very, very high quality. Even the switches down here for the lights, to open the front, to change the view of the screen so you can actually move it into a more minimal view here like that if you want to. You know, it's like something out of Batman that I just love it. You're actually better off having it most of the time in the wider view, because then you can actually just flick through quite easily all the different options. I also love the seats. They're super comfy, although they're quite firm. There are a few things that aren't so great though. For instance, look at this rear view mirror. I mean, it's horrendous. It's cheap, plasticky, and like something out of a budget car like a Dacia. Not something that costs as much as this. That is a real disappointment. Why don't they just fit a nice, posh, frameless rear view mirror like you get in so many other cars these days? Another thing I'm not so keen on is the fact that there's no glove box. Why didn't they fit a glove box? That's annoying, isn't it? Other than that, storage isn't too bad. So look, you've got some storage under here. Look, it's handy. And you've got some charging ports for your mobile devices. There's also, look, a little place for the key. I like this. Just here. So you've got your key holder so you don't lose it. Obviously, you've got keyless go. There's a cup holder there, which is just about big enough for my appropriate Spider drinks container. There's a space there which is ideal for keeping your mobile phone out of the way, and then another little cup holder there, although you can't really fit a very big bottle in that. And then there's a 12-volt socket there if you need to charge another mobile device. There's also some door pockets here as well, just in the door, surprisingly enough. And you've got a little bit of extra storage just here, a nice little net. But if you need more space, there is of course the boot at the front, also known as the frunk, and it's actually a reasonable size. Well, I say reasonable size, it is for this kind of car. So it's ever so slightly larger than the frunk you get on a Ferrari 488 Pista. So yeah, look, the Spider, you get a raise this part up, and there's a tad more space just under here. Look, it's just enough room for the car's spec sheet, which I'm going to run you through now. The standard specification £1,300 to £7,500. For £3,580 for 3,000 of the Spider, which are a bit around these controls here. And for a further £2,290, you can have carbon fibre around the infotainment screen, around the slim display, and also this hockey stick design there on the door. Rather have this part in carbon fibre instead of leather or Alcantara? That'll be £5,600, please, in carbon fibre, which is exactly what this Spider can do as well. The roof took... Oh, it's so close. The car did the standing quarter mile in 10.4 seconds, which is... So, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go! Come on, roof, come on! Come on! Come on! Oh, it's quick, it's quick, it's quick! Gotta wait for the bong! Oh, it's so close. The car did the standing quarter mile in 10.4 seconds, which is exactly what this Spider can do as well. The roof took 11 seconds.
While that was rather impressive, there is also something else which is class leading about the 720S's folding roof.
When you convert a car from being a coupe to a convertible, you often add weight for all the roof mechanism and other bits and pieces. For instance, with this 720S Spider, they've had to fit new door hinges, which adds almost 7 kilos. However, the doors themselves are a little bit light, about 3 kilos lighter, because they're now frameless. But then there's the other bits and pieces, such as, look at this. You have to have a tonneau cover, though this one isn't particularly heavy because it's made out of carbon fibre, so it's less than 6 kilos. But then there's the whole roof mechanism and all the motors and stuff. And when you add it all together, the Spider version of the 720 is 49 kilos heavier than the coupe. May sound like a lot, but when you compare that to other cars, such as the Audi R8 RWS, it's almost 90 kilos heavier than the coupe. The Ferrari 488 Pista, the convertible, is 100 kilos heavier than the coupe. The Aston Martin DB11, 110 kilos. The Lamborghini Huracan Spider is 120 kilos heavier than the coupe. Now, the carbon fibre tub is just as strong as the coupe's, and it weighs the same 73 kilos, which is exactly what I weigh. Now I've been on a diet. You know what, if this was made out of normal steel, I wouldn't be able to do this at all because it weighs around 350 kilos. Yeah, making videos and making gains. These flying buttresses provide a little bit of downforce. They also help channel air into the engine. And look at this. They're made out of glass so you can see through them, which is handy when you're looking over your shoulder to park. Rollover protection hoops are actually integrated into the car's tub. So not only does it look cool, it also has in the upper position. But how do you prefer it? Up or down? Click on the pop-out banner in the top right-hand corner of the screen to vote for your favourite position. No, not that position. I'm talking about the rear spoiler, you smutty buggers.
Not everything about the 720S Spider is great though.
In there, it looks horribly to move it to the side. Fuel tank than its key competitors, which means you're going to have to stop at petrol stations and rub shoulders with the general public more often. Passenger legroom isn't all that great. Look, even with the for the seat, it has a 4-litre twin-turbo V8 with 720 horsepower, 770 newton meters of torque, and it can get from 0 to 60 in just 2.8 seconds. What does that feel like? Well, I'll show you now by putting it into launch mode. All I have to do is floor the throttle, boost is building, and we're off. That's 60, that was 60 like that. That is insane. And this car will keep going to 212 miles an hour. Though if you have the roof off, it'll only do 202 miles an hour. What a shame, eh? Actually, you've got to be very careful. This thing is so fast and so punchy in gear because of that turbo boost. You're doing over 100 miles an hour before you know it. And I've been warned by the people at McLaren that here where I'm driving in Arizona, if they catch me doing over 100, I'll be in prison. And I do not want to end up some hairy biker's jail cell plaything, so I've got to be careful. Actually, one of the great things about this car is that you can actually slacken it off and just take it easy. It's quite a chilled thing when you're just cruising around. The suspension is absolutely brilliant over bumps. It's got a special active suspension system which can predict bumps, it can predict the way the car's leaning, and it will just keep it flat in the corners. So rides brilliantly, yet handles brilliantly too. Now you can actually alter the suspension stiffness from comfort to sport, which is quite good for fast road driving or track, and then it's really is quite firm but not terrible. Then it changes the display as well, although you can put it back, and I prefer it in the normal mode. You can also change the gearbox from comfort, so it slurs the gears together nicely, to sport, and then it's faster with the gear changes, and it makes a nice pop when you change. There, did it then. It's a little bit random, and you feel a bit like you've won the lottery when you get it to do it. It's not like the Italian cars that do it every single time, it's just predictable. This, no. And then it's like a gun going off in the distance. That's cool. Then you can put it into track mode, and it just slams home the gears, really shoves you in the back. This is a car that's very easy to drive fast. I love the brakes as well. The brakes are phenomenal. They're carbon ceramics, but they're not grabby, and when you really slam them on, the air brake at the back pops up to help slow you down even more. Looks cool, and it serves a purpose as well. The steering is super sharp, and the way you can just flow it down a twisty road, it is insanely quick. And despite being a convertible, it feels exactly the same as the coupe to drive. There doesn't seem to be any loss or trade-off in terms of the dynamics. What a car! My God. Right, I was going seriously fast there, better slow it down. That's what I'm talking about. It just creeps up on you, the speed in this thing. It is nuts. So then, what's my verdict on this McLaren 720S Spider? Should you avoid it? Should you consider it? Should you shortlist it? Or should you just go right ahead and buy it? Well, I reckon you should just go right ahead and buy this car, because if you want the supercar with the least